Once upon a time, in the charming little town of Cookieton, there lived a talented baker named Mia. Mia was not just your ordinary baker. She had a special gift for creating cookies that were more like edible art. Mia loved architecture almost as much as she loved baking, and she found a way to combine her two passions in the most delightful way imaginable. Every morning, Mia would wake up early, excited to bake her next sweet masterpiece. Her kitchen looked more like an artist's studio, with every possible baking tool and ingredients carefully organized. She had a big jar of gingerbread dough, another of sugar cookie dough, and all sorts of colorful icing and sprinkles. What made Mia's cookies so unique was their shape. Instead of the usual round or heart-shaped cookies, Mia baked cookies that looked like buildings. She crafted everything from towering gingerbread skyscrapers to quaint sugar cookie cottages. Each one was a miniature marvel, lovingly detailed with tiny windows, doors, and rooftops. The townsfolk absolutely adored Mia's cookies. They would eagerly await each market day when she would present her latest creations. Mr. Thompson always bought a house-shaped cookie for his son, who aspired to be an architect, while Mrs. Lee never missed a chance to get her hands on a tasty cookie shaped like her favorite art museum. One day, the mayor of Cookieton had an idea. He planned a festival to celebrate Mia's incredible talent and to name her the architect of sweets. On the day of the festival, Mia unveiled her most ambitious creation yet. Mia created a cookie replica of the entire Cookieton town square. The streets were made of chocolate fudge, and the trees were crafted from mint-sprinkled frosting. The festival drew people from nearby towns, all eager to marvel at Mia's creation. They gasped and clapped, delighted not only with the cookies' intricate designs, but also their delicious taste. Mia beamed with joy, knowing that her special cookies brought so much happiness to her community. From that day on, Mia's baking became not just about satisfying sweet cravings, but about sharing the magic of cookies shaped like buildings, each telling its own sweet story. Once upon a time in the bustling town of Sugarville, there lived a little girl named Millie. Millie had a heart full of kindness and a passion for baking that filled her tiny home with the delightful aroma of cookies, pies, and cakes. Inspired by her love for sweet treats, Millie decided to hold a bake sale to raise money for new books for the town library. On the morning of the bake sale, Millie rushed around her kitchen making her signature chocolate chip cookies, lemon tarts, and her granny's famous fudge brownies. She carefully packed each treat into colorful boxes, ensuring they looked as delicious as they tasted. With the help of her little brother Max, they loaded their wagon and headed to the town square. The town square was buzzing with excitement. Stalls offering everything from handmade crafts to fresh vegetables were set up, and Millie's bake sale table was right in the middle. As the sun reached its peak, people gathered to taste her heavenly creations. Just as the crowd was building, disaster struck. With a gasp, Millie watched in horror as the table wobbled and suddenly collapsed, sending treats tumbling everywhere. Boxes crashed to the ground, and the once perfect pastries lay scattered in a mess at her feet. For a moment, Millie's heart sank, and tears welled up in her eyes. But then, something amazing happened. The kind-hearted townsfolk of Sugarville sprang into action. Mr. Thompson, the carpenter, quickly retrieved his tools and helped set the table right. Miss Lila, the florist, offered her leftover flower boxes as makeshift trays for the salvageable treats. And little Max went around, gathering what he could with a big smile on his face. The spirit of togetherness filled the air as children helped arrange treats back on the table and adults reassured Millie. Noticing the combined effort, the mayor made an inspiring speech about community support, offering to match whatever Millie raised that day. By the end of the day, Millie not only sold out of treats but also raised double her goal. As she and Max headed home with the empty wagon, Millie learned the true value of community and kindness, realizing that even when things seem to collapse, people are always ready to help pick up the pieces. Once upon a time in the cozy town of Baker's Bluff lived a cheerful and curious girl named Lila. She loved creating delicious treats in her kitchen laboratory, a place filled with colorful bowls, jars of sprinkles, and mountains of chocolate chips. One sunny afternoon, Lila came across a dusty old book titled Magical Edibles, a culinary adventure. As she flipped through the pages, a fascinating recipe caught her eye. It read, Edible Glue, Sticky Secrets for Sugary Creations. Her eyes sparkled with excitement as she decided to experiment with it. Lila gathered her ingredients: gelatin, corn syrup, vanilla extract, and food coloring. With careful precision, she mixed and stirred, her eyes wide with anticipation. The gooey concoction began to bubble and pop like a sugary cauldron. As she diligently worked, her cat Whiskers watched with mild curiosity, occasionally swatting at colorful bits of candy. Lila's heart raced with excitement as she poured the sticky mixture into a glass jar. Time to test the wonders of edible glue, she announced, her voice brimming with enthusiasm. Lila began by applying her new creation to various treats. She stuck marshmallows onto a cookie tower and used the glue to attach sprinkles in delightful patterns. Every sweet she touched turned into a whimsical masterpiece. But then a little mishap occurred. As Whiskers batted at a loose ribbon of candy, it knocked over the jar of edible glue, sending the sticky liquid cascading across the kitchen counter. Panicking slightly, Lila hurried to stop the spreading glue. But in her haste, she stepped on a small puddle, causing her to slip and crash into a tower of cookies. Covered in crumbs and laughter, Lila realized that mistakes were part of the adventure. With Whiskers purring by her side, she tidied up and finished decorating her treats, each one more beautiful than the last. It turned out that even a messy accident couldn't deter her from her love for culinary creativity. And so, Lila continued her sweet explorations, determined to perfect her edible glue and perhaps one day create an entire candy castle without a single mishap. In Baker's Bluff, her sticky confections became the stuff of legends. Her creations attracted friends and neighbors from near and far to share in Lila's tasty endeavors. In the vibrant town of Sweetville, there lived a young girl named Lila. Lila wasn't your ordinary child. She had a unique talent. While others played with toys, Lila played with cookies. Not just by eating them, but by crafting them into all sorts of edible wonders. But her masterpiece was yet to come. Every year, Sweetville hosted a baking competition. The theme for this year was Building Dreams, and Lila knew exactly what she wanted to create: a cookie skyscraper that reached for the stars. Lila spent days drawing plans and perfecting her recipe. Her kitchen was filled with the sweet aroma of vanilla and chocolate as she mixed, kneaded, and rolled out her cookie dough. With the coming of the big day, she carefully baked countless cookies, each one shaped and sized differently to fit her skyscraper blueprint. With the cookies ready, Lila set to work assembling her tower of treats. There were chocolate chip floors, gingerbread windows, and wafer railings. Her secret ingredient? A sticky caramel glue that held everything in place. As the competition day arrived, the town square was buzzing with excitement. Families, friends, and judges gathered to see the magnificent creations. There were cupcake castles, candy cane cabins, and marzipan mansions, but nothing like Lila's cookie skyscraper. When it was her turn, she rolled her masterpiece into the center of the stage. The judges' eyes widened in wonder. The skyscraper soared over the other entries, its cookie walls gleaming under the sunlight. And oh, the details! Tiny chocolate squirrels scampered up biscuit trees planted around the base, and a tiny marshmallow helicopter spun on top. The head judge, a kind old woman named Mrs. Batterby, studied the structure, admiring its creativity and craftsmanship. "It's as if you could climb right up and live in there," she chuckled. The crowd held their breath as the judges tallied their votes. And then, with a joyful tone, Mrs. Batterby announced, The winner of this year's Building Dreams competition is Lila and her cookie skyscraper. Lila's friends cheered, and her parents hugged her tight. She beamed with delight, realizing her cookie dreams had reached the top. That evening, as people munched on pieces of her delicious skyscraper, Lila looked around with pride, already dreaming of her next big cookie adventure. Once upon a time, in the small, bustling town of Rivertown, there was a girl named Sally who loved both baking and building with Lego bricks. One sunny morning, while munching on homemade pastries and assembling a colorful tower, Sally had a brilliant idea. What if I could combine my love for baking and Lego? She thought excitedly. And so, Sally's Sweet Blocks Bakery was born. From the moment Sally opened the doors to her charming little shop, the aroma of freshly baked shortbread, marzipan, and candy-filled goodies wafted into the streets. Her bakery wasn't just any ordinary eatery, it was a delightful wonderland filled with edible Lego kits. Sally crafted everything with her own two hands, turning regular baking ingredients into vibrant, edible blocks that could be snapped together just like real Lego. Inside the bakery, shelves lined with kits awaited eager builders of all ages. From intricate castles to speedy race cars, the possibilities were endless. Children giggled as they stacked strawberry-flavored blocks that clung together with sugar glue. Creating majestic treehouses for gummy bear inhabitants, adults smiled with equal delight, carefully assembling gingerbread block mansions and chocolate brick bridges. But the real magic happened during the monthly building contests Sally hosted. Participants would gather at the bakery to showcase their creations. Everyone cheered as the first-place trophy, a golden, edible crown, was awarded to the most creative build. Sally's idea became an instant hit in Rivertown, attracting visitors from neighboring villages. The bakery buzzed with laughter and creativity, leaving a trail of sweet crumbs and happy memories. As word spread of her unique and tasty concept, Sally dreamed of opening more Sweet Blocks bakeries in other towns. After all, she believed that there was no limit to the joy of building delicious dreams one tasty block at a time. And so, in Rivertown and beyond, Sally's Sweet Blocks Bakery became a beloved destination for builders and bakers alike.